So today for Makers Club,
we're gonna make
paper because you know why? In our town, they used to recycle our paper, but they don't recycle our paper anymore. So what are you supposed to do with all of this paper left over? So the things you need is paper. You need a tub for pushing the water through. You need a screen. Now this is from one of our windows, and so you may have to pull a screen out. I didn't break a window, I swear. I didn't break a window. No, this was an extra one found downstairs, so I was lucky that I had one. But you can pop one out of your window, I'm sure. You need a blender, you need water, and you need these. Almost everybody has those.
Okay,
so, the first thing you want to do is take your paper and rip it up into little pieces. Alright, fine. Rip your paper up. Little pieces. Because we're going to blend it. So what we're going to do is I've actually changed my water out to be a little bit warm water. I'm not really sure if it makes a difference, but it seems like maybe it would. Focusing on tearing the paper. I don't know how much we should put in. I'm going to say we are going to just fill our blender with this paper. But let's use some color. You can also add flower petals, like if you have little dandelion petals.
Okay,
you can add things like bird seed, so that like maybe your paper doesn't turn out great. Well, no point in throwing it away. Put it in your yard. It's full of bird seed. So I think we might add a little bird seed to ours just in case it goes wrong. See what it looks like? When we're thinking about the earth, one of the big things is repurposing. This is repurposing and recycling. Because we're changing it to where we can use it again. You wouldn't write a letter to your Nana on an old newspaper, but you might write a letter to your Nana on recycled, remade with their own granddaughter hands paper. All right, I think we've done.
That pour it in.
Go ahead. It doesn't really matter how much water you put in it because you're going to smush it out of there anyway. So we'll start with this much.
But why do we want water at all?
Because what that's going to do is break down the paper so that it can blend and then can be reformed into something else. So have you ever dropped a piece of paper in a puddle? What happens to the paper? Can it stay?
I haven't dropped a piece of paper in the puddle, but I have gotten one wet.
Right, so what happens when you get your paper wet?
It's dissolved.
It gets kind of mushy. All right, Rose has sound. Wait, let's do this one, blend. Okay, so having a lid that fits is probably a good idea. Look at that. What does it look like? Creepy. Let's see if I can show the camera what that looks like. Oh, thank you, Rose. Okay, it's kind of mushy and gushy. So next step, we're going to go outside and try to smush this into some sort of shape. Right, so we have our concoction here. We have a rolling pin. Rose, would you like to do the honors of pouring this on? Plopping it out for us? No? All right, I'm doing it then. And then from here, you want to take your, you can put it in a shape if you want, roundish.
Heart.
Well, I don't think I can do it that much, and then I'm going to roll out as much of the water as I can. First, I'll do it with the rolling pin, and then I'll use my hands. Once you feel like you've rolled out and pressed out as much water as you possibly can, then you'll need to set it aside to dry for probably a good 2 days. Depends on how thick your paper is. If you manage to really get most of the water out, it might dry quicker. So you'll have to test it. Very good. Alrighty. There it is. Now we'll wait and let it dry and see what happens. 2 days later, we have 2 new pieces of paper. I am going to iron it. Here, let's put it on the ironing board. I think this might help smooth it back out. Maybe a little bit of steam.
Maybe a lot of steam.
Maybe a lot of steam, okay. Now we'll flip it. We'll do it again. Now we can write a note, draw a picture, paint something beautiful, and reuse the paper in another way.
That's what
I'm going to see what happens if I use watercolor on mine.
Or your favorites.
What they want to see is our beautiful art creations using recycled paper. Garbage. Paper that was going to go in the trash is now going to be
A baby!
something else.
A baby!
Piece of art,
A baby!
a letter,
A baby!
a baby.
A baby!